Retreat! Damn it, retreat! Get away! Run away! Oh no. Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast. PrideofDetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook. You know where to find us. Twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit. Search on YouTube for Pride of Detroit. After every Lions game, after every broadcast, our shows are going to be up there. You can watch our beautiful faces, or you can listen. Take us on your drive. Do whatever you got to need to do. Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, every podcasting platform under the sun, which is in tune, but the sun is eclipsed by the moon. Damn it. We're starting off the year this way. I didn't want to, but here we are. The Lions have once again bombed out against the Chicago Bears. It is the worst case scenario. It's good for us because we're getting plenty of traffic, but it's also not good for us because none of us like this. I'm Chris Perfett, your adequate host, at Chris Perfett on Twitter. Joining me, as always, my fearless leader, Jeremy Reisman, at Detroit Online. A little more fearful than usual, though, I would say.
I don't know if fearful is the right word. I'm pretty upset at this point. At this point, like, we're gonna have to come up with rankings of how painful and annoying the Lions season openers with Matt Patricia at the helm are. And this one's, I mean, I think it eclipsed Cardinals. It had to have, right?
You were responsible for this, Jeremy, because you invoked that Cardinals game before the fourth quarter
it's
started.
My fault that the Lions have continued to lose games the exact same way and that I saw it coming a mile away. That's my fault. That's not Matt Patricia's fault. That's on me.
You got that evil eye, man. Stay back.
It's great that we're getting traffic now today when people are mad, but 3 weeks down the road when the same shit keeps happening, everyone's gone. Everyone's talking about basketball or whatever. Great.
No one's going to talk about basketball. It's the Pistons, man. Third member of this crew, Ryan Matthews, at Ryan_POD. Ryan, you manned the Pride of Detroit account today, and I hope you had fun.
Yeah, I think my most popular tweet of the day was right after the Bears touchdown to Anthony Miller. I tweeted, "I'm dead inside and out," and it's still racking up the likes and retweets.
I'm still getting notifications for that tweet, and we are 3 hours after the end of the game.
Can't wake up. Wake me up inside. Save me.
Save me.
Not even Evanescence can save us.
That might be that might be the song of the game.
Yeah. No. Who has song of the game? Is it Reno? Tell Reno he's got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I nominate Ryan now. But
thank you for the nomination. But I'm doing okay. I truly am just kind of like, so yeah. I'm just so I'm so over this shtick. I'm so over this head coaching. I'm so over this organization right now.
We are going to get to some of the coaching because there were some prime words from Matt Patricia. You've got to hear us break this down here in a second. But
if you didn't hate the guy already, wait and see what we got for you.
Yeah, I got snookered. I'm just going to say that right off the way. I got bamboozled, hoodwinked, snookered, quite possibly even. Oh, I already said bamboozled, so that bit's out the door. Detroit 23, Chicago 27, and I bought in. And you know what? I wasn't alone. The national, you know me. Everyone says, "Oh, Chris, he's the negative Nancy of this group. He doesn't trust in the Lions." Da 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 da. And then suddenly this happens. But you know what? Before this season, I put in my 9-7 prediction. I said the Lions are going to improve on defense. For 3 damn quarters, it looked moderately true. It looked like Mitch Trubisky was headed to the garbage bin of history where he belongs. He wants to ride in that like a spaceship out into the great beyond. And instead, the fourth quarter happened. Dagger time happened. But rather than us being, if we are Brutus, we did not plant the dagger in Julius Caesar. No. It's Act 5, Scene 5 when we're falling on that dagger. That's what happened to the Lions, folks.
Right up the urethra.
Oh.
Sorry.
Wow,
graphic.
You said you were gonna clean this up.
Nope.
You were.
Screw it.
Going off human being.
Going off the rails in week 1. Why not? It's that kind of year,
Wild
right?
card. Yeah.
It's not even worse than a butt stab, though.
Shout out to Mr. Robot fans.
Oh God.
I mean,
so where do we even start with this? This is a failure on all parts. Like, I can't even just say, yeah, the defense let it down, because the offense, the offensive play calling was bad here too. I don't know what to. Yeah, go on, Jeremy. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, I mean, it feels like the only good parts in this entire game really happened the very last drive of the second quarter and the entire third quarter. That was the only stretch where I thought this team played well and well enough to win. And to be fair, the Bears weren't playing well either. I thought the Bears were dominating the play from the first quarter, most of the second quarter. I mean, they had 90 yards rushing in the first half, 5.0 a carry. Lions defense may have looked like they were playing okay, but I don't think they were. I think Mitchell Trubisky was just bad. If he connected on some of those first half passes, the Lions never even get out to a 17-point lead. So the Lions weathered that storm. They had a very, very good third quarter and squandered it all away. And I knew they would, because that defense did not look good at any point in the game. I'm sorry, they didn't. The only time the Lions got stopped is when Mitch Trubisky stopped themselves. The defense doesn't look any better than it did last year. And yes, there are some extenuating circumstances. There's the fact that, Jamie Collins gets tossed in the second quarter. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. There's the fact that the secondary is in trouble with all the injuries that are happening. But when it comes down to it, how did that game look different from any other game in 2019? I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. No, we picked up right where we left off in 2019. It looked bad. Things fell apart. Things fell apart very badly. It was a slow, tepid start too. I was just kind of watching a lot of this first quarter, very groggy. I admit, I work overnights into Sunday morning, so I had to watch this first part like in a haze, and then the ship sort of righted itself. Lions scored 20 points between the second and third quarter. The middle of this game, Ryan, they were putting it together. They were denying the Bears, and then it just, man, like Mitch Trubisky couldn't like the Bears were 0 for 7 on third downs at one point, and then just everything shuts off. Everything shut off in a big way. There was no second half adjustments that seemed to like, for whatever reason, whatever second half adjustments they made vanished again in the fourth quarter. And, it's great Adrian Peterson has found new life. Adrian Peterson almost for 100 yards on the day here. But Jeremy, you mentioned the field goal, right? Because I think this is where I want to jump off and where things start to fall apart.
I didn't mention it, but yeah, bring it up.
There's, I don't know, Ryan, 55 yards out, Matt Prater, like, I get it. The guy's kicked for 60 all the time, but you've burned 4.5 minutes off the clock in that fourth quarter. And you're 4th and 12. Like, I guess you got to go to the field goal, but man, that sucks. And there's a lot of points during that drive where it's like you could have kept going, and instead you get, Stafford gets sacked by Akeem Hicks and the whole thing falls apart. And then after that, it just seems like the offense just spooked and rattled for the rest of the game. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think that was truly the critical drive of the game. I mean, fourth quarter, 8:26 left. They're doing exactly what they want to do. It's exactly what Matt Patricia wants to do. He wants to run and bleed the clock. And luckily, he had an Adrian Peterson that looked like vintage Adrian Peterson. The guy looked like fine wine out there. I mean, he had 2 carries on this drive that were for 14 yards. Stafford takes each. Yeah, I mean, he had a huge drive here, and Stafford takes that awful sack on 2nd and 8. Akeem Hicks gets to him, and then they're able to get a little bit they're able to get back in field goal position with a little dump off pass to DeAndre Swift. But at that point, 4:08 left, 4th and 12. Surprise, Jack Fox was surprisingly really, really good in this game. Let him punt the ball. And at that point, I mean, Detroit's up 23-13. They have to score 10 points and they're going to be pinned. Now instead, they get to start from their own 45. And you already have a depleted secondary. At this point, no Justin Coleman. At this point, no Desmond Trufant. You're down to Darryl Roberts, Amani Oruwariye, and
Tony
McRae Sr. I mean, that's your secondary at that point. So how do you not make the adjustment, and how do you not say, you know what, the extra field goal is not worth that much. Let's just pin them back.
You could have easily Fox, I think, could have easily coffin cornered them.
I mean, I don't know. To me, that was a tough call. I'm not going to kill Patricia for that one because you've got one of the best long field goal kickers in the league in Matt Prater. Granted, he's kind of in the twilight of his career, and 55 is certainly no gimme for him or anyone else in the league. And I mean, 3 points doesn't make a three score game, but those 3 points certainly would have come in handy on that last drive of the game where the Lions would have only needed a field goal instead of a touchdown. Yeah, it would have made a difference if they made it. So to me, I was live at the time on our little Super Squares thing, and I was saying at the time, this is a really tough decision. The real story here, though, is that Matthew Stafford put him in that tough position by taking that completely unnecessary sack.
I didn't think he had a very good game. I thought Stafford had a...
Well, yeah, let's talk about that.
He made a few really good throws, but there were quite a few throws that were either off, and receivers had to make adjustments. Like Cephas stands out to me. He had one of these snags that was over the middle. And I mean, there were vintage Stafford throws. The touchdown pass to TJ Hawkinson, that was in a window that only Matthew Stafford could throw it in. But it was also an incredible catch by TJ Hawkinson. But I think that he would... But Stafford tries to make one of those throws to Marvin Jones across the middle where he tries to fit it into a super tight window, and then the interception happens. And I think that's where the game really flipped.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And I do think Matthew Stafford had an average Stafford game for most of the time, which I would say is a good game. I would say he was at like a B+ for most of the game, but he had two of the biggest critical errors in this game, and they absolutely cost the Lions at least 3 points, probably 10. And it's those two that we mentioned. It's the unnecessary sack he took on Akeem Hicks that pushed him out of field goal range temporarily, and it's the interception where he tried to stuff a ball into a really, really small window on 3rd and 6, and it ended up being an interception that turned into the game-winning touchdown 3 plays later. I think the Lions deserve some criticism for putting Matthew Stafford into a situation like that. A 3rd and 6 is not an ideal situation you want to be in against this Bears defense. They knew you were going to pass the ball, so Stafford was going to have to take a risk if he wanted to convert it. But at the same time, if it's that tight of a window in a game that you're clinging onto a 3-point lead, you either put it where the defenders are definitely not going to get it, or you throw it away.
Yeah, that's Cephas. You mentioned the Cephas one earlier, Ryan. That was off his fingers, if I remember. And like, I get it. Maybe if it's Kenny Golladay out there, maybe he can stretch out for that kind of play. But yeah, you don't have Golladay out there. I didn't want to talk about the DeAndre Swift drop just yet, and I feel really bad for DeAndre Swift. Like, if I have sympathy for anyone in this moment after the game, it's DeAndre Swift. He had that ball in his mitts, and he just let it go, and the entire world saw it. Everyone saw it, and just... I don't know what else to say, man. Welcome, rookie. Welcome to the NFL. Like, that'll haunt you for a while. I hope you're good.
It happened at the most inopportune time. Everybody's 1 o'clock games were over. Everybody's Fox broadcast, I'm assuming, probably switched over to the Lions game at that point, and they saw the Lions do a Lions thing. And
yeah,
I don't know why. I got a little irrationally mad at everybody on Twitter there for a second when they were like, "Oh, Lions fans, you don't deserve this." Like, just speaking from this point of like superiority, where like my football team's enjoyed success, but your team has just been an absolute garbage fire for however many years.
Yeah, it's what people used to say all the time with like Browns fans. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Browns. It's so condescending. And most of these people were also like hyping up the Lions before the season too, right?
Yeah,
like all these people who are like,
sympathy.
We think the Lions, they're gonna win the division. They're going to the playoffs. We like them. They're gonna, just and no, like now you come in and you realize what we've been dealing with, and suddenly you've been curious why we're so pessimistic all the time. Hey, guess what? We just put it on display for you.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with Swift. It's tough to get mad at a rookie in his first game because, I mean, it's literally a nightmare scenario. Like I have to imagine if a football player has nightmares about football, it looks almost exactly like what happened to him. Very first NFL game.
Yeah,
gets put in a crunch situation and drops the game-winning pass. Like it can't get worse than that, and it doesn't waver my faith in him at all. Let me be clear there.
No,
too. I don't have any less faith in the guy as a player, as a receiver, or anything like that. It was just one moment. Drops happen. I think we tend to over-exaggerate drops, and obviously it came in a big moment, and it's a reason why the Lions lost. It's certainly not the only reason. So I'm not going to beat up on the guy, and anyone who does should be pretty ashamed of themselves.
Swift caught another touchdown in this game, folks.
He ran.
I'm sorry. He ran for a touchdown in this game. Like he got you 7 points. He got you 6 points.
And to me,
it just sucked. Yeah, it just sucks that he lost another 6 in there. And like, hey, maybe if Kenny Golladay was healthy, maybe he's not the one dropping it. Maybe you draw up that play for someone else in that moment. But it just, and he has to get it done. But again, that's a hell of a pressure. That's a hell of a pressure.
I kind of found it interesting how they used him in this game. They basically used him in the Theo Riddick role, which is like the receiving back on game-winning drives or half-ending drives. Like that's why he was out there, is because he's the receiving back. He's a guy who caught 3 passes in this game. He's a guy who will embarrass linebackers. I mean, let's also not forget that he also got wide open on this play, right?
Yes.
The reason why he was in a position to make a wide open catch and win the football game was because he juked his way into an open spot in the field and got into a position to score. It didn't work out this time. It sucks. It compounds on a whole bunch of other issues of this game, and you're probably already having your temperature rise as this game already was happening, and that was maybe the thing that made you burst. But look at this kind of clearly. He's going to be a big weapon in this offense in the future. I truly believe that. It's just a really big mental barrier he's going to have to get over, and it won't be easy.
Yeah, I just don't want to pick out the individual guy like that. I'd rather pick out, like, again, the play calling, which we're going to get to in a second. As we've been talking about, dagger time, a damn lie. The defense would just seem to like disappear. There were a lot of failures that came up before we suddenly have to say, "Hey, DeAndre Swift, you just didn't catch that pass, man." There's like 8 steps before we get to DeAndre Swift here.
No question.
Yeah. Any other big notes from this game before we get into the meat topic, the main course of this week?
Should we talk about Jamie Collins right now?
I don't know. You want to
save that? Let's save that for a little later.
Okay,
let's save that for a little later.
Let's talk about a little bit of positive before we head to our break, just so maybe people can cling on to a little bit of hope here.
Like a raft.
And I'm gonna do this partially just to annoy Ryan a little bit, but I thought TJ Hockenson had a pretty good game.
He had a great game.
All right, cool. No, I mean
he had a fantastic game. I don't think he was the offensive MVP though.
No, he wasn't.
Adrian Peterson was.
Adrian Peterson absolutely was.
Yeah, we should talk some AD as well here. Yeah.
But yeah, quickly on TJ and Chris and I were talking beforehand a little bit. 5 catches, 56 yards, and a score. Nice to see him get involved in the red zone. I think that's where I think we might see the most growth from him this year. But 56 yards, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, especially if you fantasy guys that are obsessed with yardage and things like that. But you stretch out, if he averages 50, 60 yards a season, we're talking 900 yards. That's
a
great.
Game, not a season, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry. 50 to 60 yards a game equals around 900 a season. So I think that's a really big positive step. I'm sure that's also going to be a good mental game for him in terms of getting over his ankle injury, making sure last year wasn't a fluke in the beginning of the year. So obviously they need to continue to keep him involved and not have a situation like last year. But I was very promised with his start, and we kind of knew, given the fact that Golladay was out in this game, that he might see a little more targets than normal.
Well, Speaking of targets, Quintez Cephas led the team in targets with 10.
Crazy,
if you had
right?
that on your bingo sheet, at the beginning of the game, good for you. Also, Adrian Peterson, 3 catches for 21 yards. My 4.5 over/under is not looking very good
for the season.
I found that so totally surprising. Do you know what? And the one other thing too, Marvin Hall, 1 catch for 26 yards. He's well on his way to maintaining his ridiculous catch average yards per catch number.
I was very surprised by Adrian Peterson. I know he's probably going to be the story at the end of the day if you wanted to scrape one positive out of it. I am curious how many times he can do this each year. Like, this is a fresh year for an older man. You know, he hasn't been banged up yet. This is the first time he's taking hits. So, and I mean, historically, he does good against the Bears. I don't know what it is. It's probably just a crackerjack stat, but it's a guy starting his first game as a 35-year-old. But I mean, damn, he had like over 115, 115 total yards between 114 between his passing and his rushing, 93 on the ground. And those weren't just like him getting volume in carries. He was making chunk plays. He was breaking through. He fit exactly what the Lions wanted to do at the run game, which I don't like it, but if you're going to run through if you're going to run between the tackles, Adrian Peterson found those holes and just powered through, man.
I think that
Go ahead, Ryan. Real quick, I want to say that maybe the difference between Adrian Peterson in Washington last season and Adrian Peterson in Detroit this season is that Matthew Stafford is his quarterback, and they're not going to be throwing 8-man boxes at him. And with the boxes a little bit lighter, Adrian Peterson found some running room. He made some defenders miss, especially at the line of scrimmage. I was really glad that he had more than just one big run, because I didn't want Jeremy to get on here and say, well, his yards per carry was
all right.
He had such a good game, and I think that this might have been not the death blow to Kerryon Johnson, but
it's coming.
Can we see that guy getting a lot of work moving forward? I mean, if Adrian Peterson and DeAndre Swift are healthy, how does Kerryon Johnson fit into this offense?
I mean, it's something I've been saying all off season. I think they're trying to phase out Kerryon, and this was a big blow to his future. I think with this team, if there hasn't been enough blows to him this offseason with the draft pick of DeAndre Swift and the addition of Adrian Peterson, the thing that really stuck out to me with AP the most was his vision. Like, he found those holes. Don't do this. Don't do this.
AD.
Don't do this. But yeah, I mean, he found those big holes. And to be fair, like, the offensive line also created some very big holes, especially on that left side. That left side seems to be where the Lions are going to be running a lot of plays, and I'm sure it's not a coincidence that also happens to be the side of the line that's returning from last year.
And Taylor Decker's proving his money out there.
Yeah, and he had his hands full with Khalil Mack today and did an okay job. I really think that left side of the line was solid throughout the entire game. Right side had some issues, both in pass protection and run blocking. But, yeah, I mean, Adrian is the starter next week. I don't think there's a question.
Not at all. All right. I do want to take a break here. When we come back, people, I see our Twitch chat right now. They are baying for blood, Jeremy. They are sitting there howling because they know exactly. This tweet from our old friend Michael Rothstein has blown up Lions land. And we are going to take a short break here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about it because I think it's got us all fired up in various different ways. And we are also going to break down defensive failures, play calling failures, everything else that is happening here, and all the other oddities. We're still going to have some fun. We need to have some fun. This is going to be a rough season. This is going to be a really rough season. I need to let people know.
You don't know that.
Hopefully. Maybe it'll turn around. But like, I want people to know, because I've seen some people through the off season saying, like, you guys need to do this on the podcast. You need to do this and this. Listen,
we'll do what we want.
We'll do it live. We'll do what we want. But we set ourselves apart by trying to give you guys our honest, earnest opinions, but we're also going to have some fun while we do it, because this can't be serious at this point. It's only game why you have to be med, but I can't keep doing more self-serious years as the Lions guys. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back, and we're going to let you hear our rage corner on Matthew Patricia. We'll be right back. It's the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Do you even call him Matthew?
I don't call him anything.
All right, Chad, welcome. This is our second show here in so long. I finally got some energy. Thank you. And yeah.
LJ, thank you for the 10 months of subscribing to our channel. Appreciate you, bud. I don't know if there were any before that. I feel like there was, but for some reason...
Taylor Decker, that's someone I forgot in my stock report. Taylor Decker.
If there was anyone else that subbed in the intro there, I'm sorry I missed you. But thank you for all the follows. Saw Sandman followed. Appreciate seeing you here, bud. I know you're as frustrated as a lot of us today. 2018, 2019,
Ryan,
2020, all the same. For
Ryan, two things. One,
whoops again. Wait.
I was mesmerized by you just wolfing down all that ice. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And B,
it's about 95 degrees upstairs.
Yeah, people have cashed in a request for Goose.
True.
Goose is not here.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
I wish that I could do that.
Bring that up. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
It's Chad's fault for not knowing. Just kidding, Chad. I love you.
Can I pass something along real quick from NBCS Chicago?
Oh God.
What's that?
Is it the thing about Mitchell Trubisky saying they went man to man in the end and we all knew it was coming?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't give a shit.
We're doing that every year.
That's teams have their tendencies and people know that and a lot of teams are just like, yeah, these are our tendencies. Try to beat us. And that's what the lines and a lot of teams are.
But Mitch has beat you.
You can't do that. You can't do that when you're on your third, fourth, and fifth cornerback. You can't just say, "Hey, beat our."
And Mitch has shown you.
You change your entire game plan.
Mitch has shown you the last 5 games.
But
Mitch has shown you his last 5 games that he can beat you on that man defense.
About that. No, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, like, even with better corners, Mitch has shown he can beat your man.
Hey, if Trubisky of all people is going to say they did a good job mixing up coverage, and then all of a sudden at the end of the game they went to what they do and they played man when all of their players were down, I mean, doesn't that speak to a lack of preparation?
No, I mean it speaks to
a
lack of you have worse players that can't do complicated things anymore, so you're doing your bread and butter. I mean, I'm sure that they'd love to do all that stuff with the proper personnel.
If you're a defensive-minded head coach who came in here to do stuff like that, then you should have your players prepared to do whatever you need to do. And if you're just going to rest on your laurels and play man-to-man defense and get shredded by Mitch Trubisky, you deserve whatever the fuck is coming to you.
I almost feel like throwing this on the podcast now.
You do whatever you want, Chris. I mean,
all right.
No one's happy.
People are asking me how the OnlyFans is coming. Coming along pretty well. We're setting, goals here. If you want, I can't say anything on here without getting Jeremy's Twitch channel banned.
Please don't do that. We're just finally getting off the ground here.
But I, much like Plaxico Burress, will start an OnlyFans.
Okay.
One day.
No. Did you mean Odell Beckham?
No, Plaxico Burress started an OnlyFans too.
I just assumed Odell Beckham was starting one.
No, I'm dead serious. Plaxico Burress has one. So if you want to see where he shot himself at that nightclub.
Okay. You're really, really kind of pushing that line. Jeremy, I thought it was great during your post-game Twitch stream that the POD banner fell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like we need to like
right on cue.
That, yeah.
What Lions jersey were you wearing today?
Stafford. My knockoff Stafford.
He played like knockoff Stafford today.
Listen to you. Real quick, I want to I haven't taken a look at the rest of the NFL schedule, and Game Pass hasn't been working, so I'm just going to quickly go down what we've missed so far. It looks like the Cardinals are going to win over the 49ers.
A lot of weird stuff happening.
I don't really care.
Kyler
Murray is your rushing leader for the Cardinals today with almost 90 yards on the ground. Must be nice.
I think Cam Newton had more rushing attempts than any of the Patriots running backs, and I love it.
Well, that's definitely true of Kyler Murray in Arizona, and he also had 230 yards in the air. I'm terrified after seeing that Green Bay Minnesota box score. I really am.
Remember when everybody said all the NFL needed to do was get some film on Lamar Jackson?
Come on, he went up against the Browns.
Division game. Must be nice to have your quarterback step up and play big.
Yeah. One more question.
Can we just go into this? Like, what are we even talking about here? I don't give a fuck about the rest of the NFL. I didn't see a single play from the rest of the NFL. I don't want to talk about the rest of the NFL. I want to talk about how shitty the coach Matt Patricia is, and I want to get the hell out of here so I can eat more pizza in my face and write about how crappy the rest of the team was.
You just defended Matt Patricia.
Listen to you.
How did I defend Matt Patricia? I defended the way they played their defense. In terms of how they handled their busted up secondary, because what the hell else are they going to do?
Well, you could start by playing Tracy Walker a little bit more.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, that was on my stock report. Like, I saw Tracy Walker sat down, Will Harris took his spot, and Jimmy Graham immediately snatched that lunch money out of his hands.
I mean, Tracy Walker got beat by Jimmy Graham a couple times too, so
yeah. I also saw, I don't know, maybe I fell in love with Tracy Walker, like, holding out a little bit better against, I don't.
Segment 2. Should we do it?
Let's start
for the people.
2. Yeah. Sorry, my dad sent me a text I don't understand. As bad to be a Bengals fan as a Lions. I don't want to ever think of myself close to being a Bengals fan. Anyway, let's start. Welcome back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast. We have something that is going to blow. It's blown up most of Lions Twitter. It's blown up my timeline. I don't know where to even go with this. And I think this speaks to a problem with the coaching staff. It's speaking to a frustration with the Lions coaching staff that's happening right now. We've got to go back, Jeremy, to our friend Michael Rothstein, who has this one. So he says, quote, he asked Matt Patricia after the loss whether there's something in his coaching that is a reason for consistent fourth quarter failures. So let me get the full quote here. Here's the full quote. Mike asks him, throughout really your tenure here, you've had fourth quarter leads and lost them. Is there something in your coaching that maybe isn't happening enough in the fourth quarter for you to close out games? Matt Patricia's response: I don't think so, Mike. By the way, Matt Patricia, can I say this on air, Jeremy? I think it was confirmed. Like, Mike was the one that Patricia was telling to set up, and
I don't think that's everyone relevant here, whatever. But
no, yeah. I know, but it's a funny note. It's a funny note. That's all. I don't think so, Mike. I think I've got one of the biggest plays in the fourth quarter in the history of the NFL where I think I did a pretty good job. So I don't think it's that. I think we all know what the individual games are. We have to do a better job. I mean, we got a team now that's different from the previous 2 years. This team is different. They are a different players, and they have a different mindset. Look, no excuses. Give the Bears credit. They did what they said, what they did, and they executed, and they scored, and they won, and we didn't. I'm not looking back. We're looking forward, and we're trying to make sure this team that we're building on understands these situations, and we have to come through better than we did before. 2 notes that put this into clarity. One, Matt Nagy didn't even give the coach of the Bears didn't even get his own team credit. He said afterwards, we're not going to let this win deodorize any of the stuff on offense, defense, or special teams that wasn't good. So I don't know who all out there is going to give the Bears credit on this one. But let's rewind the clock here. I think I've got one of the biggest plays in the fourth quarter in the history of the NFL where I think I did a pretty good job. If you don't know what he's talking about the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Seahawks, where the Seahawks decide to throw on the goal line rather than give the ball to Marshawn Lynch, and it cost them the game, and it cost them the Super Bowl. That's what Patricia's talking about. Okay? I used to listen to a lot of sports talk radio. And there would be a specific guy who would call in on local shows. And you know this guy immediately, because this guy would like to think that he's big on X's and O's. And he's big on what players are thinking. This guy played football in your hometown, wherever it is. He played football at the high school level. Maybe he even played it at the college level, but he never really got a lot of starts. Maybe it was an injury, sidelined him for the rest, and he just never moved on to that next level. Or he had a coach working against him. He's always got an excuse waiting for you. Either way, he lives in that glory of that past, okay? Matt Patricia saying that, justifying that he's made excellent fourth quarter decisions in the past because of a Super Bowl that happened over 5 years ago, okay? That is the equivalent of a musty, aged, somewhat yellowed, 30-year-old high school Letterman jacket that has been sitting in the back of a closet for almost as long. It stinks, it's wretched, and it's no solace to fans, to anyone who is watching this game right now. Putting aside the fact that I think a lot of people put a lot of that onus on the Seahawks coaching staff for not going to Marshawn Lynch, who was one of the best running backs at the time.
Darrell Bevell, by the way.
Darrell Bevell, yes. Where is he now, Jeremy?
I don't want to talk about
You know where he is, yeah. That Patricia is taking credit for that decision and stopping, a goal line stand there. Again, it's over 5 years ago, and it was 14. He's not coaching right now. You're the head coach of the Detroit Lions, not the New England Patriots. I know we all gassed you up on this Patriot way thing, but your job is to win games for the Detroit Lions, and it's to make those decisions. Look, man, this team looks completely different in the fourth quarter. It looked completely different, to end the game. What are you doing? There's 50 seconds left on the clock, and you're dialing up plays for 5-yard chunks over the middle of the field with a running clock. What are you wait, what? What are you doing? What are you doing? What is all this? Why are you still doing run pass? Why are you still doing run pass? Haven't you seen enough? I know you have Adrian Peterson over there, but you got to give Stafford some chances to make those throws. I don't understand this. You've almost totaled the car. You've got another wall in front of you. What do? Do you hit the brakes? No, you stomp on that acceleration pedal like you're a skinhead at a boot party. I don't understand what you're doing here, and I don't understand why you're using this old faded Letterman jacket to defend what you're doing. I don't know what's going to happen to him this year. We're going to talk about the schedule that's coming up. It does not bode well for Matt Patricia or Bob Quinn or anyone on the Lions coaching staff right now. But it kind of starts here with this. Your excuse here, everyone's kind of dunking on it right now. And I know there's probably some people up above. I don't want to call for his job. I think I should leave that to some other people. But at the same time, you should realize the position you're in right now. And we talked about this before in the past, Matt Patricia. Defiance really doesn't look good on you. And if we're starting the defiance this early, it's not going to look well. Jeremy, I know you're boiling here, so you want me to kick this quote over to you?
I guess. I mean, the quote is stupid. It's idiotic. It's ridiculous. It's going to get a lot of attention, and probably rightfully so, because justifying your actions because of one play 5 years ago when your defense very well should have probably lost that game too after giving up a fourth quarter lead is stupid. But I'm just more pissed about everything else. I'm more pissed about the fact that he even says in that quote, these are different players. This is a different year. Well, guess what's the same? The results in the coaching staff. Hello? What's going on here? You're throwing at the end of games. That's the best way I can put it. You're just throwing the game. This is what we've seen so many times. The graphics were all over Fox this afternoon. The Lions are blowing 10 fourth quarter leads a year, 7 a year, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Stafford's back there. It doesn't matter if David Blau's back there. It's coaching, and it's so clear to see. Let me read to you the plays that the Lions ran in the fourth quarter. Matthew Stafford, pass short right. Run to Kerryon Johnson. Matthew Stafford, pass short right. Pass short right. Left end run. Incomplete short right. Incomplete short right. Catching on yet? Let me go on to the next drive. Pass short middle. Run. Pass short right. Run. Run. Sack. Pass short left. This team just completely decided not to go downfield. And we've seen the results when they go downfield, right? We all remember what happened in 2019 when Matthew Stafford was a downfield machine. And what did he throw, like 3 passes all game downfield? One coming at the very end when, guess what? Danny Amendola caught it and they got into a position to potentially win the game. Good things happen when you throw the ball downfield. We learned this last year, and you keep going away from it in the fourth quarter because you want to be this gritty football team. You want to be this team that dominates people at the line of scrimmage and really punishes and tires out and physically abuses the other team. That's not how today's NFL works. You put the ball down their throat, downfield, and I don't care if Kenny Galladay's out today. We've been talking about all offseason. This team has a litany of weapons that can catch the ball downfield. A litany. And they never decided to use it in the fourth quarter. All they wanted to do was grind clock. Wow. Let's run out the clock with nice 3 and outs. Run, pass incomplete. Great. How'd that work out? How'd the time of possession in the fourth quarter work out? The Bears scored with over 2 minutes left in the game, didn't they? Or just under?
Just under. Yeah, the Lions got it back, I believe, with like a minute and change.
So you didn't even come close to bleeding the clock. Didn't even come close. There wasn't even a point where you're like, well, if we pick up this first down, the game's over. They never even got to that point. Because they took the foot off the pedal. Because their version of a dagger is a freaking pasta noodle.
Hey, I'm going to say that at 3:32 from the Pride of Detroit account, I tweeted, super looking forward to the Lions offense downshifting to run the football and drain the clock. It always works so well for them.
I mean, there's a reason why I tweeted out the Arizona score at the end of the fourth quarter, because we all saw this coming. Everyone saw this coming. No one has learned a thing in that coaching staff, and they never will. We warned about it in the offseason. We warned that this was a team that would not adopt modern philosophy in football, and they haven't.
Because all they need, Jeremy, like you said, is without Kenny Galladay, did it look like this offense was super afraid of throwing the ball to Quintez Cephas deep or throwing the ball deep to Marvin Hall on a couple plays? Like, Matthew Stafford was still willing to throw the ball down the field.
Early.
All you need is one of those plays down the stretch at the end.
And it's over.
Is one of those.
It's over. Get a pass interference and it's over.
So why not take a chance? Why not take a chance, Matt Patricia? Because that damn Patriots game that he won, where he was able to just bleed the clock, like he just thinks that, like, well, that's the blueprint. I can just win every game like that.
I'll just have Tony McRae bail me out on the goal line.
Yeah, can I say something too? Like, it's frustrating because we do see the vision of what he wants to do. It does have foothold in different parts of the NFL. What do we talk about in the offseason? Like, who do the Lions want to be? They want to be like the 49ers. They want to be like the Titans. Okay, fine. Those teams have shortcomings. But a lot of those shortcomings is because they don't have a good quarterback. What has always set Detroit apart? You have a franchise quarterback. You have a quarterback who's in the top 10, maybe the top 5 if he's on his game. And guess what? You're not using him. As Jeremy said, you're not throwing downfield. You're not using him. Why? He's the secret sauce. Were you just asleep at the wheel during the 2016 season? Did you not see what a Stafford-led offense that has weapons like Anquan Boldin, who is throwing into coverage, who gets those tight spirals, what that can do for you? No, you don't. Instead, you're going to take away 2 downs from him so you can run a couple times. And then on 3rd and 12, you're just like, all right, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm going to throw a screen pass. I don't know what a 3rd down and long looks like. I can't imagine throwing the ball more than 5 yards. So here's a screen pass. It hasn't worked in 10 years, more than 10 years. The screen pass never converts on 3rd down. Never. Absolutely bleeping never.
Chat.
It's a waste. You are wasting an entire series. For what? For what? For Mitch Trubisky to beat you? For Mitch Trubisky to beat you. For Mitch Trubisky, this guy has renewed vigor. His stat line was terrible until the fourth quarter, and now everyone's out there saying, look at Mitchell Trubisky. He's leading this team and he's winning games. He belongs in the dumpster, man. He's going to learn next week. Not every game is going to be against the Lions, because not every team out there is going to roll out the welcome mat in the fourth quarter like the Lions do. You can thank Patricia for that.
Ryan, chat is worried about you, so please speak and let them know how you're feeling right now.
We're just also glossing over the fact that, Chris mentioned, well, you want to be like the 49ers. You want to be like the Titans. Those teams have defenses. Those teams can afford to punt the ball and give the ball to the other team's offense because they can probably put up a pretty good job of stopping the other offense because they have a defense. The Lions don't have a defense. And at that point in the game, they didn't have anybody to stop anybody. Tony McRae's a great special teams player. Amani Oruwariye, this was his first time with his big boy pants on. He's starting opposite of Desmond Trufant. And this is a game that matters. It's not last season when David Blough's your starting quarterback.
Right.
There's no Jeff Okudah. Desmond Trufant goes down. Justin Coleman goes down. You had an injured Trey Flowers who was out there giving everything that he had. We haven't even gotten to the fact that Jamie Collins, the most boneheaded play. I don't care if you were trying to demonstrate. We'll get into it. I have a whole take about that. But the thing is that Matt Patricia doesn't have the things to do what he wants to do. And he's spent 3 seasons trying to accumulate all these things. And he wants to, in his excuse for why his team keeps blowing fourth quarter leads, to say, well, things are different and we need to adjust and we need time to. No, you don't get time. You don't get any more time.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked if Matt Patricia is fired before the end of the season. And I'm not overreacting. I'm not overreacting at all, because there are some people that are on Twitter already calling for his job. Like Chris said, that's for upper management to make decisions like that. I would just not be surprised if this shtick of his wears old.
Up until the bye week, you've got the Packers, the Cardinals. Cardinals looked good today. Cardinals looked good on Sunday. Saints, who are currently kicking around the Buccaneers. You could start 0-4 before the bye easily.
It all speaks to this coaching staff's inability to recognize what they have in front of them. They don't recognize they have a top 10 quarterback. They don't realize they have great downfield threats in the receiving game. They don't realize they don't have a good defense that they can rely upon. They don't realize they don't have a secondary that can deal with zero pass rush yet again. It's just, I hate to continually just bash on the coaching staff, but what else can I do at this point? When there's close games like this, you tend to get a 50-50 split. That's just how it works in the long run. It's why a lot of us were like, maybe the Lions are due for regression after all the failure from last year. But when the pattern is the exact same, the results are almost identical, it speaks to a more fundamental issue with this team, and Matthew Stafford is not good enough to bail them out like the more balanced team was in 2016.
The fundamental problem is that they have a square peg, and they just keep saying, well, this needs to go in the round hole. They're ignoring the square hole that's over on the other side. They just keep bashing. Let me tell you, 3 years, it's not going to wear down. I'm sorry, Ryan, continue.
Matt Patricia wants to run the football and he wants to stop the run. What did the Chicago Bears do today? They averaged 5.3 yards per carry on 28 attempts, and they were continuously gashing the Detroit Lions defense up the middle on run plays. They were running zone running, and there were holes that you could drive Barry Sanders' thick-ass thighs through easily. It was embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And it goes back to Jeremy's point. They don't know what they have in front. They don't know what to do with what they have in front of them.
And here's the thing. The Lions couldn't run the ball when they needed to. The Lions were good at running the ball today, but they weren't good when they needed to. They got stopped on a 3rd and short really early in the game, a 3rd and 1 that Adrian Peterson didn't convert. And then at the end of the game, that run pass thing that ended in the Matthew Stafford interception was a 2-yard run, 3rd and 6. Matthew Stafford screwed. Tries to overplay his hand. Interception. Game's over. The Lions can't be the Titans if they can't run the ball when the other team knows they're going to run the ball. And the Lions aren't that. Maybe we thought they were going to be that. Maybe we thought with all the offensive line changes, with Adrian Peterson, with DeAndre Swift, that maybe they could be that team, but they're not. Maybe they will be the team. Maybe they can figure it out by the time the season ends. But at this point, they're not that team, and they can't be the Titans because they aren't equipped to be them.
They're not equipped to beat a lot of teams right now. I hate to say it. Like, they're just not equipped. You hit on it, Jeremy. They're not equipped for modern football. You can play this retro style, but you really need to have your ducks in a row to play that retro style. You can't be leaning on, as you said, special teams guys like Tony McRae to make up your backfield. That's not what the Titans do. That's not what the 49ers do. And even those teams failed in the playoffs because ultimately when bleep hit the fan, they couldn't go to a quarterback. You at least have the luxury of a quarterback, but for some reason you're just not using it. And again, then you waddle into the post game and you say, "Hey, but my defense stopped Russell Wilson throwing on a goal line stand 5 years ago." Like, I know he knows that some of the things he says comes off poorly, but it blew my mind that he's going out there and saying these things after this moment. Like, the worst thing for the Lions is the virtual fans this year, because we talked about it before. It's not like Ford Field normally. That Ford Field might have contributed to the game earlier because they would have been loud as hell. We've seen how loud Ford Field can be. But B, when it started to turn sour, I think it would have gotten in his head at least a little bit if he saw just how many boos would be raining down as they blew another lead in the fourth quarter. Like, it would have been ugly.
If there's one thing I know, it's that Matt Patricia is never going to change for anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't care that
he proved that.
He's better with the media though, Ryan. He's changing.
Yeah. And he's changing. Did you buy that? And he's listening to the players. He's listening to the players on social justice.
He cried during the national anthem.
Now this is getting a little mean.
To be really clear on the quote thing, I'm not going to hammer him too much on the quote thing because, one, whatever, it's a quote, it's off the cuff. Maybe you say something stupid and don't realize how stupid you sound. Two, he isn't one really to pat himself on the back very often. Usually,
that's why you were blown away by it earlier. We were talking about this. That's not usually him.
No, he's usually, I got to coach better. And I think he even said several times in the press conference itself, like, I got to be better. We've got to be better at the end of games, and that very much includes myself. And whatever,
then be better.
Well, right, then be better. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, all these words, he can throw whatever. He can say the right thing. He can say the wrong thing. It doesn't matter because nothing's changing. It's word salad. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. Whoops, brought something on the stream. Anyways. Whatever. Matt Patricia said something stupid. He did something even more stupid on the field.
And he's going to keep doing stupid things on the field until he's not the head coach of the Detroit Lions anymore. And then you're looking at a 3-year rebuild because we have all the players that he wanted.
I don't want to even cross that bridge right now, man. Like,
no, it's fun. You can think about that hell.
Yeah. It's going to take a while to debug this from Patricia Ball when that does happen, if it is required to happen. There are still 15 games to be played, but I mean, maybe, you know what? If by next week, if by week 8, we just look at that and say, hey, we were overreacting like hell, I'll be very happy.
Sure.
Otherwise, like, we're just, we're going to be doing the same thing, and we'll be doing like dumb trivia games by week 7.
And listen, I'm not sitting here and saying the Lions are doomed for eternity. They're going to be a 4-12 team. They're going to be screwed. No, I think this team still has enough talent, and if they get healthy enough, I was about to say once they get healthy enough, there's never a guarantee that ever happens. If they get healthy enough, I think they can play 500 ball, maybe still even above 500 ball. I do think this was a good Bears team, not a great Bears team. They've got a really good defense, and the Lions put 23 up on them in 3 quarters and then decided they didn't want to play football anymore. So I think they'll contend. I think they'll contend every week. I just think when it comes down to dagger time, they're going to suck because they have a bad decision maker at the helm. And so maybe Matthew Stafford overcomes all that, and maybe something like DeAndre Swift's touchdown happens. I mean, they were that away from winning this game despite poor coaching. The problem is the poor coaching is going to drag them down from potentially a 10 or 11 win team to 8-9 win team at best.
All right. I want to take a quick break here. I think that's everything we need to tread there, but I know Ryan's getting heated about, and I think Jeremy, you're heated too about this Jamie Collins thing. I want to give it the attention it deserves. So we're going to reset here, burn off this steam. Chat's going nuts in Twitch, which again, you can join us live, twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit every week for this. And we'll come back in a couple minutes. And I want to get into Jamie Collins. I want to get into some odds and ends here. We'll wrap up the show here. It's been a brutal show, but I want to at least end on a, hey, we're all family note, if possible. If not, then who knows? But before that, Jamie Collins, because, yeah, that was weird. So we'll be right back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Chat's giving it up for Fearless Leader. Chat liked what you're doing there, Jeremy.
Thanks, guys. I know more Gadoo's in here. Good old Andrew Cotto. He seems to like what I'm saying. Thanks, bud. There was also a Zazu request, which I will bring in shortly. I want to make sure I didn't miss any subs or anything like that. I don't think I did, but if I did, I'm sorry. Zazu, the people want you. You've been summoned. Come here.
People's choice.
Come here, big boy. Come here. Oh, there you are. Oh.
Any interesting bets for you today, Ryan?
Well, I mentioned this in the Pride of Detroit Slack, and I'm not sure if anybody saw it, but I had the under at 52.5. So when DeAndre Swift dropped that ball, I won $50.
Silver linings.
Jeremy hates me. I would have gladly lost that money for DeAndre Swift to catch that ball. Oh, look at that.
Would have been a great story for DeAndre Swift. That's why I feel so bad for him. He would have had 2 touchdowns in the day. He becomes the late game hero.
Yeah, and then instead he gets Matt Patricia's sweaty arm wrapped around him like, it's okay, buddy.
Right. Hasn't he been through enough? Why you got to put that sweaty arm on him?
And Patricia's been breathing into these masks that are like mufflers and at the same time, face masks. And I can only imagine they're directing sweat down into what you are wearing, that it circulates around your body and just makes your BO that much worse.
Oh yeah, 100%. Also, by the way, if it's 2002, Matt Patricia's mask has a Punisher logo on it, right?
Is Punisher even out in 2002? When did Punisher come out?
Comic book is, but
no, I know, but it wasn't really a thing until the movies, was it?
Oh yeah, I'm just saying that's totally up Matt Patricia's alley.
No.
Yeah, we'll stop.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
I know I was doing my Trump impression when reading that Matt Patricia quote too. I had the best fourth quarter call, folks. We had the best. The best.
Let's just completely gloss over the fact that Malcolm Butler made the play.
Right. Or the fact that the Seahawks drove all the way down in 60 seconds.
Or that you had Marshawn bleeping Lynch and you didn't go to him.
Right.
Well, that Patriots defense was blessed with Vince Wilfork, and the Detroit Lions have
Danny Shelton.
Spare parts.
Yep.
Defense wasn't running on all cylinders today, boys.
Just one cylinder.
Maybe 1.5.
Unbalanced cylinder production.
You know what I'm sick of? This defense never forcing turnovers. Ever.
Well, Justin Coleman should have had a pick.
Oh God, I forgot about that, yeah. You guys see that pick that someone threw in the chat of everyone on the Lions defense just going, no!
Yeah.
I have some great...
Hamza tweeted that out, I think, a couple hours ago. He's getting famous.
I was going to say, I took some pictures of Adrian Peterson chewing on his glove, realizing hey, you're with the Lions now.
Oh man, his reaction when Matt Prater missed the field goal, he was like,
yeah. Yeah, my Game Pass
buddy.
isn't working.
You've been lionized.
my Game Pass isn't working. I'm trying to get the second before where he puts because he like has his mouth wide open, then he puts his hand in out like this. I have the picture with him with his hand in his mouth, but I want it beforehand where he just jaw agape that this is happening after the game he put up.
You think Adrian Peterson after this game was like, wow, I had offers from 2 or 3 other teams?
I mean, through like 3 quarters, it looked like he was having a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, and again, like, he does well against the Bears. He always has.
This loss isn't worse than the Jets loss, though, right? The Jets loss is...
Oh, God.
Jets loss the worst.
Worst, yeah. No question.
We lost it. Who was it? Sam Darnold?
God.
Sam Darnold.
Yeah. I just saw a tweet.
Sam Darnold.
I just saw a tweet that said it's that like hiding behind the brick wall, like meme, and it
Peeking
says,
out.
"Hey kid, the Bears might start the season 6-0. Give me a fucking break. Are you kidding me? They're gonna start 1-5 probably.
Wait till Mitch plays a real team.
Oh my God.
That's my battle cry.
God,
wait until Mitch plays. Wait until Mitch plays a real team.
I think it was Jeremy who mentioned something, but about Trubisky kind of keeping the Lions in the game because at one point they were 1 for 9 on 3rd down. Like Trubisky was just awful.
He was
terrible.
He was bad. And like the Lions weren't even like sacking him. They were getting some pressure on him and it was causing him to scramble backwards, but they never sealed the deal on Trubisky until late in that game.
They face masked him on that one play.
Yeah, but that's it. Like, cool. We're going to be facing better offensive lines down the road with the Lions. Like that whole not being able to seal the deal is just going to get much worse. Trey Flowers, you better be bringing your tomato juice every week.
Can we do this 3rd segment so that I can?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know we're
actually
fine. We're getting close to. I know we want to be done before Sunday Night Football, so we should probably get to it.
What's up? Shout out to the Lions Pride Brazil podcast.
Brazil,
hey,
all right.
Worldwide, we're Mr. Worldwide.
I was gonna say I was talking with someone who is at @0_dark_40. He does NFL Scotland, the NFC North for NFL Scotland, and he's a Lions fan.
Nice.
So I've now checked my map in Australia, Ireland, England in both London and the North, Scotland. Now we got Brazil on the map. We've got Emmanuel Bruni, who is from Italy.
Are the Detroit Lions the worst thing that America has done to other countries?
Oh, no. I can't say what it is, though, because I'll get in trouble.
That's why it was a ridiculous question.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right, let's do this for Ryan's sake. Wrapping up the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Once again, download the show. This has been a very negative show, but I promise you, we try to have some fun. I guaranteed that this is going to be the most entertainment you will get in this Lions season. Even if you're just like, you want to shut out the Lions, they're causing you a lot of harm. We're going to try to kiss it, make it better. However, I can't guarantee you that right here because Ryan, you want to touch on what happened between Jamie Collins and referee. Let me make sure I get his name here right. It's Kemp, but is it what's his first name, Jeremy?
It is Alex Kemp.
Alex, I'm sorry. It was
the new official that Lions fans' names will now know by name forever.
Unprofessional of me to not have that lined up. We've said before, I'm going to get a 1-star review because I forgot someone's very plain first name. So sorry. Alex Kemp. So Alex Kemp, Jamie Collins set the scene here. Jamie Collins, I think he was trying to demonstrate a helmet to helmet or something, Jeremy, and he instead somehow bumps into Alex Kemp. Alex Kemp stares him down, throws the flag, and ejects Jamie Collins from the game, depriving the Lions of a very key defender. You know what, Ryan? The rest of the floor is yours from here.
Yeah, a lot of people were initially, it was weird to see how everything shifted just over the course of the next 20 minutes, because at first it was, what a wildly dumb move by Jamie Collins. I can't believe that he would headbutt a ref. And then all of these slow motion videos came into play where it looked as though like Kemp kind of initiated contact, and it doesn't really look like Jamie Collins bumped him all that hard. So then everybody started throwing a fit and saying like, oh, it's the referee. He's trying to screw your Detroit Lions again. Guess what? You can't touch referees. You can't even put your hands on them to talk to them. Like you just cannot touch referees. They have that ability to deem any kind of like touching as an ejection. They can do that. You know why? Because they're referees. And I think that Jamie Collins, being a veteran player, he should know better than to go up to a referee. And if he wants to demonstrate how David Montgomery keeps on leading with his helmet, he can say, hey, he's leading with his helmet like this, and then just show him. But instead, he tried to do way too much. And I don't care if he even bumped him a tiny bit. You have to be smarter than that. That's just a boneheaded play by a veteran. He deserved to be ejected because it was a dumb move by him. It was a dumb move by Jamie Collins. He deserved to be ejected because he got too wrapped up in the moment.
Yeah,
and if anything, in some of those slow motion videos, it looks like Alex Kemp. It doesn't look like he's going to initiate contact. It looks like he's bracing himself to be hit in the chest by a guy who has a helmet on.
Right. Yeah, I think anyone like over analyzing that video and be like, you know what? I think he initiate like what motive does he have to like nose the prudering here, please. But yeah, it's a boneheaded move by Jamie Collins. You look at it from an outsider view, you see like, oh, he barely touched him. Probably not ejection worthy. Sorry, it doesn't matter. That's not how life works. You can't just look at something and say, oh, you know what? This isn't how it should work. There's a rule book. There's a rule book that very specifically says, quote, there shall be no unsportsmanlike conduct. This applies to unnecessary physical contact with a game official, period. Was that unnecessary physical contact with a game official? Absolutely. Under no circumstance is a player allowed to shove, push, or strike an opponent official in an offensive, disrespectful, or unsportsmanlike manner. This official decided that it was in an unsportsmanlike manner, and it's easy to understand why. He could see the frustration in a player, and he saw him lower his head and hit him with a helmet. Yes, it was just a light tap. Yes, it didn't hurt anybody. But the line is there. Unnecessary contact with a ref that's unsportsmanlike. It was that. And sorry, unfortunately, that rule comes with an automatic ejection. You can't just say, you know what, since it was only light, we're just going to give you 15 yards. If that's a rule that you want to change, you think it's a little too harsh, fine. That can be your argument. But unfortunately, the rule's very black and white. You touch a ref in an unsportsmanlike manner, you get tossed out of the game. I can see why it's in the rule book. The NFL wants to protect its officials against 300-pound men with padding on. So don't be an idiot. Don't even give the officials a chance. Like, if you want to show him what you did, turn to the side and go like this. Go like that. I know the people in the podcast can't see, but just imagine me turning to the side away from a referee and butting the air with my head. Maybe you bump into a player of yours. Haha, that's funny. No one gets hurt. No one gets a flag. Just don't be an idiot.
I agree with everything you guys are saying, but for the sake of playing to this crowd, like Hulk Hogan running around with a hand cupped to my ear, and because I need to do it, I agree with everything you guys are saying, and yet I also think Alex Kemp's being a jerk.
Maybe.
That's some Lilliputian dictator bleep going on right there. I'm sorry. No, that's small. That's small time stuff. Either still, he was absolutely in the right, and you can be absolutely in the right. Black letter of the law and everything, and you can still look just like he's a jerk. He's a just riles my blood. Riles it.
Unfortunately, I don't think referees are known as always getting into, especially professional referees, for getting into it for the love of the game. And I don't think they're going to be too forgiving of NFL players when they look like they're a little too riled up and they're going to drop their helmet into somebody's chest. So, I mean,
I can also call him slime.
Yeah, you absolutely can. You absolutely can.
That's all. Like it sucked. It really sucked. The Lions lose one of their best, a good linebacker out of this. Like,
yeah, I mean, he had a really crucial play. Him and Trey Flowers teamed up for a good incompletion that they forced from Mitch Trubisky on a third down play. And it's a bummer. Would the game have been different if Jamie Collins was in? Maybe. But we won't know. Because never know. Is it Tavai who ends up taking his place and then gets that boneheaded neutral zone infraction?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's a stupid play. Hopefully he learned from it. I'm not going to hammer on the guy forever for it, but he also doesn't really have a defense here.
I'm going to keep hammering on Alex Kemp.
Okay. And neither do the Detroit Lions, Jeremy.
Don't have a defense? Hey. Okay, please stop. You're scaring me.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay. Closing out the show, do you guys want to look ahead a little bit?
Can we talk a little about Tracy Walker before we do? Because I don't want
real quick. Yeah.
So I was wrong. I was convinced throughout all of training camp they're starting Will Harris ahead of Tracy Walker was just them cross-training Will Harris. Don't worry about it. Tracy Walker's going to be in there the entire game. Well, I was wrong. Tracy Walker was in there a lot. Will Harris was in there more, I suspect. I'll have to see the final snap counts when they come out. Will Harris definitely started the game with Duron Harmon, and no one seems to understand why. No one can give us a reason why. I mean, you look at the play itself in this game. Not that Tracy Walker had a fantastic game, but he was certainly better, looked better out there than Will Harris did. Tracy Walker had 9 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass defended. Will Harris, 5 tackles. And a posterizing by Jimmy Graham, although they both got posterized by Jimmy Graham in this game. So it's a weird development. I don't understand it. Throw in another category of what are you doing, Lions coaches? I don't understand why have we gone from a guard rotation to a safety rotation? Like, is this all part of the plan where you're just like, let's find a player that plays well and likes us and ostracize him and take him out of the game?
Yeah, why do they do like that part? That's the part like that really riles me. We didn't even get it in the coaching staff. It's like, why, like every year we've been doing this where we're just like really trying to make guys uncomfortable. Like what? I don't get it. Ryan, by the way, if for those listening at home, Ryan has just basically walked away from the camera for here. Like that's just how far gone we are. Real quick, Jeremy, to close out this show, you want to talk at all about what's coming down the pike?
No.
Here comes Ryan. Ryan, let's get Ryan's headphones. Ryan, you've got a baseball bat. Do you have a baseball bat? What is that?
No, this is my walking cane.
Oh, that's your walk. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you've okay.
You're ostracizing the cripple now.
My leg's still technically broken.
You could walk with a baseball bat.
I could. If I was Bob Quinn, I'd probably walk with a baseball bat.
Oh, but if I was Bob Quinn, I'd keep that baseball bat tight because someone might be coming for you eventually here.
So, someone might be coming to whack the Boston boys here pretty soon.
I'm glad to see that's catched on with you. So next week, the Lions are going to Lambeau to play the Packers. The Packers put up 43 against the Minnesota Vikings defense today. I don't know what else to say. It's not going to get easier.
Who knows though? Like, right? Like,
yeah,
we've seen this team put up horrible defensive performances in the final quarter of a game, and then come back and just like completely stymie the Packers. They've done it before, and so I'm not gonna count them out for next week, despite the fact that Aaron Rodgers, put up probably one of the best quarterback performances of the week, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, maybe the Lions can rebound. I don't know. We also have to figure out how severe these injuries are to Desmond Trufant, to Jeff Okudah. Maybe he gets his first action next week. Who knows? I mean,
maybe you get Golladay back.
Maybe you probably get Golladay back. And I mean, it's a weird situation. The Lions probably can't afford to go 0-2, especially when it's 0-2 in the division. But I'm not going to call it a must-win game either, because I'm not that person. There's no such thing as a must-win game in September. I'm sorry. It's not true.
There are not enough hamstrings in Metro Detroit that are available to get this Lions team healthy in time. And, I mean, well, truthfully and honestly, the Detroit Lions at this point, like, they have an issue, and I know that they want to tread carefully and they want to be cautious with these hamstring injuries. and I agree with you, Jeremy. There are no must-win games in September, but I don't think you can afford to be super cautious with these hamstring injuries now. I mean, if a guy can go, I think you got to let the guy go.
Yeah, I think that's fair. A really tough position to put.
You've got to play.
I mean, you hope it's just like you want to like ask the doctor, and if it's a, I wish it were that black and white, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I'm totally the Herm Edwards school here. You play to win the game.
The cornerback depth is just in shambles. You have Okudah, Trufant, and Coleman all with hamstring injuries.
It's rough.
Yikes.
Not good. This is your cornerback roster right now that's healthy is Daryl Roberts, Amani Oruwariye, and Tony McRae. Three.
Yep.
You better manufacture a pass rush overnight if you want those guys to cover the receivers in Green Bay.
Sign Ezekiel Ansah.
Oh no.
I mean, what
else? In a dark place. I mean, yeah, that's true. Like, what else? What other options do we have? Quick.
The one thing I will say is I do think the Lions blitzed a little bit more, at least early in the game. They certainly didn't do it at the end of the game because, they don't do good things. They don't do good things at the end of the game.
Like, you weren't getting home. I understand that, but you were shaking. You were rattling Trubisky's cage. You went up, grabbed those bars, and was rattling like hell. And you could see it. He was spooking. He was spooking, folks. You had him right where you want him. And once again, in the words of Danny Green, the Bears are who we thought they were, and we let him off the hook. That starts with RIP Danny Green. That starts with though blitzing and just there's a lot of questions Lions they have to do some real they need to do a real spiritual retreat this week. I recommend a Jesuit. Really help you put your mind in order again because you're going to need it.
Sounds like something Matt Patricia would be willing to do.
No, not really.
Nope, not even a little bit.
He would probably like try to push back against that Jesuit, and he'd find out pretty quickly, as I did going to a Jesuit high school. Jesuits are really annoying to argue against. Like you think Catholic priests are like some pushovers sometimes. Then you run into a Jesuit who has like a PhD and just ready to just rip you apart. They're weird people, man.
What are we talking about?
I don't know anymore, man.
I don't know. You lost me about
people who know. I'll just say that. I think it's the right place to stop though, because we've hit off the rails already. So during the week, we're going to have a lot more PODcast content. I'm not going to be on it because I've got to limit how many times I appear during the season because of dumb California labor laws right now. Jeremy, Ryan, this has been fun, even though we've started off in a horrible, awful, evil, no good place. And next week, we'll just have to see where it goes from here. And we might have to prep some trivia games or something.
Because, the season is long.
But we have a season.
We do. Football's back.
Doesn't
it feel great, guys, that football's back?
You got everything you wanted, folks. You got it. You were saying, I want my Lions football back. Yeah, you got exactly what you wanted. You got exactly what you wanted. For myself, at Chris Perfett on Twitter. For Jeremy, at Detroit Lion. For Ryan, at Ryan_POD, the Rock God. We say to you, download the podcast, subscribe, follow on Twitch, subscribe on Twitch, look for us on YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, PrideToDetroit.com, all the news up there. And we will see you Starside.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
What is that?
Okay, good stuff.
What is that?
That's my purse. I don't know you.
If I ever have to host the podcast, that's gonna be exactly how I sign off. Yeah.
I exited Craig, by the way.
I see that.
I was gonna say, hey, what did I post? Because I posted like a Bobby meme the other day. You remember that, Ryan? What was that?
Oh, it's a King of the Hill reference.
Can't remember. Yeah.
It's a King of the Hill reference. Yeah.
My bad. I need to watch that show.
I gotta go.
I'll be honest. I don't feel like hanging around too much. I've been on camera since 1 o'clock today. So
yeah. And Dallas Rams Cowboys Rams just started. So I want to get everyone out of here and let you go, guys. Enjoy actual competent football, maybe tonight.
Hopefully. But yeah, everyone else head over to Pride of Detroit. We have takeaways. We have breaking down the Jamie Call stock reports. What just happened. Tomorrow I'll have snap counts, grades, what else? Other stuff that I'm forgetting. Whole bunch of fun stuff that I'll be working on tonight once I drown my sorrows and pet my dog a couple of times to make myself feel better. But thank you, everyone, for stopping by. We held over 100 viewers the entire time, which is amazing.
We had 200 for the post game too.
Yeah, so we've been doing amazing on here. Be sure to stick with us. If you didn't stop by this week, be sure to head to the Super Squares Twitch account. Jerry Mallory getting in with the sub right before we go. Thanks to it was actually a gifted sub from LJ. Thank you for the gifted sub, who's now gifted 53 subs to the channel. And look at our subs down in the corner there. We're so close to our goal, 7 away because we're at 62. Hopefully we'll get there.
Gotta have the sex number.
Gotta have the sex number. Anyways,
I'm so hungry. Stop talking about subs.
All right, I'm done talking.
I had one like an hour ago, so you should definitely get one.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you missed anything, we're going to be on YouTube, or you can just listen to the podcast. Salute. Goodbye.